Hello, welcome to the Music First Music Ed Tech Conference. My name is Stefani Langol, and I'm an associate professor in the Music Education Department at Berklee College of Music. Today's session is called Lights, Camera, Action, using video to promote student engagement. So on the agenda is to look at some different types of video tools that can be useful for both music educators and students to bring the power of video into the music classroom. Video can help us personalize our instruction, especially when we can't meet with our students in person. We'll look at synchronous versus asynchronous tools, and in particular, screencasting tools for creating videos for asynchronous instruction. We'll also briefly talk about some free online tools that can help us create a variety of different kinds of videos, from short animations to interactive video lessons to longer form videos. In particular, we'll look at Edpuzzle, Flipgrid, and WeVideo, and we'll wrap up by talking about how you and your students can best share video. So there are a variety of different tools that can be used for different purposes. Teachers can host video conferences or live streaming events for delivery of instruction. Teachers can create and share their own videos to support and customize their instruction. Teachers can also curate and share videos made by others to support their instruction, and students can also create videos for project-based learning, assessment, and creative projects. Many of these approaches allow us to flip the classroom, whether you're in person or online. Flipping the classroom allows students to focus on and learn content outside of the class, and this is often via video or podcasts, and that frees up time in class to collaborate, to work on projects, have discussions, or do presentations. Some primary uses for teachers include creating teaching tutorial videos, performance videos, special occasion videos like an end-of-the-year senior video. Students can also use video to demonstrate learning of a variety of different concepts for performance purposes, for their own presentations, and especially to express their creativity. All of the tools we'll talk about today are available online. However, as you think about what kinds of video tools you'll need, you need to think about what's best going to suit your purposes, and you'll need to think about how you can access them. And of course, if they are free or not. And if they are free, is the functionality of the tool useful? So over the past few months, and quite potentially moving forward, we're going to need to think about how to best reach and interact with our students if we are not in the classroom. So there are essentially two categories of tools, synchronous and asynchronous. The question is, do you run live video conferences, or should you pre-record your content? And if you pre-record, how exactly will you create videos for your students? So there are pros and cons to both synchronous and asynchronous tools. The pros for synchronous tools, such as Zoom, Meet, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, are the ability to stay connected with your students. You're going to meet with them in real time. So there is a sort of air quote face-to-face interaction that you can have with them. There's a flexibility to meet in different ways. You can meet as a whole class. You can meet one-to-one. There are small groups. You can potentially, if the tool allows it, have breakout rooms. You can provide feedback and answer questions in real time. And so the students are learning at the same time as if it was in the classroom. The cons, and these are actually big cons, is access and Wi-Fi issues. Not all students have access at home, and certainly Wi-Fi is a big issue. There are privacy concerns, and also the fact that it's a passive kind of interaction where they're just looking at a screen. Kids today all have a lot of passive screen time, so this kind of just feeds into that passivity. Asynchronous tools like Screencastify, Loom, and Screencast-O-Matic, which are all screencasting tools, allow us to create materials that students can use to work at their own pace. They can also work at a time that's convenient for them, so that it's more flexible in terms of their interaction with the material. The cons are that it's hard to monitor if the students are engaging with the work. There's often a communication lag time between when the students do the work and when they interact with you. And it's also true that students may not easily be able to clarify issues they are having with the material in the same way that if they were with you in person. So Examples of synchronous tools allow us to do things like video conferencing, live streaming, and live chat. Examples of asynchronous would be email, screencasts, using something like Flipgrid, using videos that are embedded into blog posts or web pages or Google Slides, things like that. You may find it useful to use a combination of synchronous and asynchronous videos, depending on the situation and what your curriculum is. So two of the most popular synchronous tools that kind of floated to the top during these last few months are Zoom and Meet. Things that they have in common include screen sharing capabilities, the ability to access the built-in webcam and mic, but also the ability to connect external cameras, microphones, and headphones. Also the ability to schedule a specific time and provide that access link, and then students can access that using any device. And also the ability to record and store video so it can be viewed at a later time. Your school district probably has advice about which video conferencing tool you should be using and which settings should be employed. Zoom had been having some privacy issues, but they have been resolved. And it's worth noting that Zoom, as of now, has no length in terms of the amount of time that you can record. It can have up to 100 participants and includes breakout rooms. Google Meet, until the end of September, has no length limit and can have up to 250 participants. If turned on by your IT, Meet also has live streaming capability. Some teachers are also experimenting with live streaming on YouTube. It is a platform that most students are familiar with, and there is a real-time chat that's available there too as well. So moving on to asynchronous tools for education, screencasting is a category that is very powerful. Screencasting allows you to record from 3 different outputs from your computer. So it can, in other words, as I said, can meld 3 different recording assets into one video. So you can record the video of what's happening on your computer screen, you can record from a webcam, and you can record audio both from a microphone and from the computer, which are 2 separate recording streams. 3 online tools that have become very popular are Loom, Screencastify, and Screencast-O-Matic. Screencasting in education has been around for a while, and there are some best practices to follow when creating one. Be sure to plan and prepare, just as you would for any lesson, and establish what and how to focus the content. Write a script or an outline, and it's very helpful, especially for red light fever, when you go into record mode. Chunk the information. It's better to make a series of short videos rather than one long video. The average attention span definitely does not exceed 5 minutes. Test and practice before you record, and try to be in a quiet space and speak slowly and clearly. There are many ways to use screencasting effectively. Some ideas include creating a software or website tutorial, doing a voiceover for a slideshow presentation, creating targeted instructional videos on a particular lesson topic, demonstrating a performance technique, doing an interview or a research project that incorporates video, and providing verbal feedback for student work. Okay, let's look at a few different screencasts that were created with Screencastify. We won't watch each in its entirety, but just enough for you to get the idea. So this first one is on a website called Hook Theory.
Hi everyone, this is a quick tutorial on hooktheory.com, one of my favorite resources. You can use it for composing, for chord study, and just to see how chord progressions work in popular music. A lot of times students like to see that. So if you go to Hook Theory and go to Products and go to Musical Sketchpad, there is a buy now version and a free version. I've used the free version for years and had no trouble. If you want to do more complicated things, I'm sure you can purchase it, but this works just fine for me. When you come to this first main screen, it can be a little overwhelming with all of the different information and with all of the colors. But once you understand how it's laid out, it's really not that confusing. Every note you type in or chord is going to last either a whole note, a whole measure, half note, quarter note. It divides it into 4. The chords are right here. Depending on what key you're in, they will label underneath, and they go up, and they are color-coded, just as the notes are color-coded. And then you can already automatically put in progressions that already exist, so your kids don't have to type them in. They can just click preset progressions. I like to have them type in their own progressions just to get it better in their head. If I'm doing this with my guitar students, I go up and change the key to the key of G, because those are the first chords we learn, so that they can play the progression that they are working on. If I have a whole note selected for the whole measure, 4 beats, it will last the whole measure, and I want them to type in a 1, 5, 6, 4 pattern. They can retype that out the whole time, however many measures you want their composition to be, or they can click and drag and copy the chords they put in, copy the melody, or copy everything.
Okay, so now let's take a look at this next one on musictheory.net.
Hi everybody. Today we are going to talk about how to use musictheory.net as a resource to practice note reading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my web browser and type musictheory.net, and it will take me to this website. This is a really fantastic website where you can practice a lot of music theory concepts. What we're going to use is the exercise tab. So if you click on exercise, and then we're going to scroll down to note identification, and go ahead and click on note identification. Now what's really cool about this resource is that we can tailor the range, so how high or low the notes go, to whatever we need. So what we're going to do is head over to the little gear, and we're going to customize what we want for our exercise. So we only in guitar class use treble clef, so we'll stay with treble clef. We will not adjust that at all, but go ahead and click on treble range, and we're going to adjust the highest note and the lowest note to fit the range of our guitars. So as you guys all know, the lowest note that we can play is a low E below the staff. So that is 1, 2, 3 ledger lines below the staff, and the note is right below that third ledger line.
Okay, our third example is a website called Jam Zone, and one thing to notice is that the highlight around the mouse is being used in this particular screencast. So here it goes.
Hey everybody! Today we're going to begin exploring the Jam Zone by Little Kids Rock. This website is basically a library of song charts, practice exercises, backing tracks, and video lessons. Now for this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of searching for a song. The Jam Zone contains features that can help you find your song quickly based on your needs and taste. So let's go to the song library section of the site by clicking on the Learn a Song tab in the middle of the menu at the top of the home screen. One way you can search for a song is by the instrument that you play.
Our last example is uploaded directly to Google Drive and could easily be shared right into Google Classroom.
Hello, welcome to Middle School Orchestra. This is going to be a demonstration of your Google Classroom and everything that you need to know about your assignments. So here we have the home page. This is where all of your announcements will be, all of, if we have Zoom meetings, if we're not in school, or whatever we need, everything you need to know is going to be on this home page. Now, when we go to classwork, all of your classwork will be noted here. This instrument survey, we need to know what instruments you have at home. Now, this is if we go to remote instruction, we will have all of the weeks here. If you click on week 1, you will see the assignment. It will have the instructions of what you have to complete based on your class. So here you have middle school orchestra down here and everything that you need to complete, and your assignment is due on Sunday of this week, and that's what you will need to do there.
In addition to the synchronous and asynchronous tools we've been talking about, there are other types of video tools, each yielding different results. There are tools for creating animations, tools for creating interactive video lessons, graphic design tools that also allow you to create short, colorful videos with music, a video recording and sharing platform, and traditional video recording and editing tools. For today's session, we're going to focus on 3 tools: Edpuzzle, a tool that allows you to create interactive video lessons; Flipgrid, a flexible, engaging video sharing and response platform; and WeVideo, a video editor that functions much like a traditional timeline-based tool that can be used to make longer-form videos. Let's start with Edpuzzle. Let's look at what Edpuzzle is, and then we'll look at the interface and a few examples of interactive video lessons made with Edpuzzle.
Want to create amazing video lessons in minutes? Edpuzzle is your missing piece. With Edpuzzle, you can choose from the millions of videos available from YouTube, National Geographic, TED Talks, Khan Academy, and more. You can also reuse ready-to-go video lessons made by other teachers or upload your very own teaching video. Then use Edpuzzle's video editor to create your perfect lesson. Embed your own questions to check your students' understanding, cut sections to show your students only the most important parts of the video, and even record voiceover so you can explain concepts in your own words. Once you've finished, you can assign it to your students in just one click and prevent skipping to make sure your students don't miss a thing. When you want to check in on your students' progress, use Edpuzzle's hassle-free analytics to get all the information you need. See who still needs to watch the video, what your students responded, and their total scores. So remember, with Edpuzzle's free platform, you can make any video your lesson.
So it's easy to sign up for Edpuzzle. You can sign up as a teacher, and you can basically just sign in with your Google account. And when you log in, the interface looks like this. So on the left-hand side, you'll see an area for your content that you created, which would be this area right here. And you'll see down here where it says popular channels, this is where the libraries of all those videos services live. And you can pull up your own URL that you want to use from YouTube or Khan Academy that you already know of, or you can search for it here. And as we saw in the introduction video, the thing that's really cool is that you can actually upload your own video. You can use your own video. So we will take a look at an example of that in a few minutes. So I just wanted to show you what the editor looks like. So if I come here and open this up, you'll see that each of these little teardrops, raindrops, are where the questions appear. And you'll notice that there's 4 questions over here, and it says where in the video they appear. And this is those time stamp markings right there. If I go into edit, at the end you can see this is where you can do some of the trimming. And if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to place a question right here, I'm going to go to questions, and now I can say what kind of question do I want? A multiple choice question, an open-ended question, or do I want to just put in a note? So let's say I'll put in an open-ended question, and I'm just going to say here, what scale is the teacher talking about? He's talking about A minor pentatonic here, but please describe it by naming the notes of the scale. Okay. And then I click save, and you'll see that when that gets to there, it comes up as an open-ended question. So if I click finish, now at this point, if I wanted to, I could assign this And if I had a class here, I don't have a class, but if I added a class, I could say my music class. And one thing that's kind of cool is that depending on how you want to use Edpuzzle, let's say you don't want your students to have to log in with an email or student ID. You can leave this open and give them the link, and then all it will ask for is for them to put their name in once they click on that link. What's good about that is that you can put that link into any LMS that you might be using. You can put that link into Music First. You can put it into Google Classroom, Canvas, Schoology, etc. And you, the teacher, can always come back to Edpuzzle and keep track of the students, because once they type in their name, it will appear in your class and it will show you what their progress is. I can click assign, or I can also just grab this public link right here. So there's a lot to experiment with here, but it is a really great tool for creating interactive video lessons. And I want to show you a couple of different examples. Here's example number 1.
Let's start with note values. There are whole notes, which are 4 counts, half notes, which are 2, quarter, which are 1, and eighth, which are 1/2 count to start. This means a whole note can be broken down,
etc. So let's take a look at the next example. And this example, I'm going to pause that for a second. This example is kind of cool because this is a video that was uploaded by this teacher, and it is being used as a reflection assignment for students post-concert. So there's an open-ended question here asking them to describe the balance of the woodwinds. Look at one more. And then this question is asking about the phrasing. So that is a really good way to have students reflect on a performance that they did. Okay, let's take a look at this last example. So this is a screencast that was created by a teacher, and they customized the teaching of key signatures. And instead of using something like musictheory.net, they created their own example. And then they uploaded it to Edpuzzle and created some questions to check for understanding. So let's just listen to a little bit of this.
Hello music theory students, Mr. Lefebvre here, talking today about accidentals. Before we jump into accidentals, we need to discuss reading notes with a key signature other than C major. All of our rules from before stay the same. In treble clef, the lines are still E, G, B, D, and F, and the spaces are still F, A, C, and D. In bass clef, we still have G, B, D, F, and A for lines, and A, C, E, and G for spaces. Now, however, if there's a flat or sharp in the key signature, it applies to those notes on the staff. For instance, here we have the key of B flat, so a G would remain a G. A D would remain a D. However, B is now a B flat. Also, E is now E flat. The key signature does not just apply to those notes on the same line or space as the flat or sharp in the key signatures. Any and all B's and E's would also be considered flat. So this last E is also E flat. Let's do an example with a sharp key. Here we're in the key of A. Our first
Okay, so here's the question asking about what notes would be sharped in the key of A. So you get the picture. So anyway, these are some examples of how you can use Edpuzzle to customize learning for your students. Now that we've looked at Edpuzzle, let's take a look at Flipgrid. Flipgrid is a really unique social learning platform that uses video as its main mode of communication. And it's completely free, and it can be accessed from a computer, a mobile device, and a tablet. And you can sign up simply by using a Google email or a Microsoft email. Microsoft actually purchased Flipgrid a couple years ago and has made it completely free for educators. So it's really wonderful to have a tool that is powerful and fun to use and is free on top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to log in, and I'm going to use my Google login, and I'm going to try to go through as much as I can. We don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to try to give you a quick overview so that if you've not used Flipgrid before, you'll get a sense of what it's like. So I'm going to go ahead and click my Google login. I'm going to come here. And so this idea of a grid is that a grid is actually like a classroom or a class that you have or a learning community. And I actually used this summer with my graduate students. So this is the main interface. And if you have not used Flipgrid before, the Getting Started area is a good place to start. There's some good material there. And going across the top here, my activity just shows, what I've been doing since I've been a Flipgrid member. This is where I can go to access my grids. Mixtapes are really cool. As your students post videos for different activities and different assignments, ones that are really outstanding, you can mark them and bring them into the mixtape and feature them. So that's cool. Grid Pals is a way for you to connect with other educators using Flipgrid. This Disco library is a library filled with Flipgrids that are available for anybody to use and customize to their own needs. And then the last thing is something called a short. And this short is a video that you can create. You have, I think it's a 3-minute time limit, and you can use this in a variety of different ways. You can use it as a daily message to your students, or the introduction to a particular unit. If you click on record a short, I'm going to click allow here. I don't have my video camera on, but there's different things going on here. Oh, they changed it. You've got 10 minutes to record your video. My mistake. So I don't have my video on, but I can choose stickers. Maybe that's what I want to have happening here. I also can have a whiteboard. Right now it's black. I can make it white. So I could get myself all set up for using this as a whiteboard, and then I can go ahead and click record. Maybe I'll move my emoji face over there, and I'll click record, 3, 2, 1. And now I am recording my short. And if I wanted to draw on my whiteboard, I could do that. And when I'm done, I can click this button. Now, one thing that's kind of cool is that, and you'll see this, and this is just in general when you're recording video, you can pause and then you can record again, and then you can rearrange the segments. So that's kind of a cool feature. When I'm done, I can click next. It's going to review it. I'll click next again. It'll say take a selfie. I'll put this, maybe I'll put that up there. It'll take a selfie. I'll click next. And there's my video. And now the thing that's cool about this is that I can share this video anywhere, really. It doesn't have to just live in Flipgrid. I can put this in Google Classroom or any LMS, and the students will be able to access that. So I'm going to go to my grids, and I've got a couple here, but I'm going to show you how you make a new grid. So I'm going to come here, and I'll call this my test class. Okay, and then this grid type is just giving you the opportunity to set it up the way that you're going to have your students sign in. So they can either sign in with their school email. If you're using this with younger students, you're not going to want them to be using email, so you can assign student IDs to them. And then you can also create a public grid. And that's what I'm going to do right here. And then I can customize this as well, right? So I could call this my test class, and that's available. If it wasn't available, it would be red here, and I'd have to name it something else. And then I can click next. And then in this next window, it's asking me if I want to set a password. I don't really want to do that right now, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click next. And so this Flipgrid code is the code that you would provide to your students. And I can copy this, and you can see I could go directly to share it in Google Classroom to remind, or I could get an embed code and put it in a web page. I can put it in any LMS. I can put it in Music First. I can put it in Schoology, etc. So once I've decided how I want to share it, I'm going to go ahead and click Go to Your Grid. And so this is what my grid details area looks like. And you'll see that right here, it gives me an image here. Now this can be customized. And the other thing is that you'll see that it starts me off with a topic, and it's basically kind of an introduce yourself kind of a topic. And of course you can change that and customize it. And this is where you would add new topics. I want to show you a couple things. First is if I go to this edit grid, this is where I can change some details that I've already set up. So for instance, here's the name of my grid. Here's my flip code. I can change the name of that. I can change the way that students access it, or if I decide I want to add a password. One thing that's really important here, I think, is notifications. You really want to turn this to never, because every time somebody posts a video, you're going to get a notification about it. So, same thing, you would want to leave this grid followers off. And then this is where you can personalize the image for your grid. Flipgrid provides different images that you can use, right, in some different categories, or I might have my own photo that I want to upload, or I've done a search, Creative Commons search, and I found an image that I really like, and I can go ahead and upload that there. So I will update this grid, and you'll see that it changes my picture here. Now, if I want to go and see what it looks like from a student perspective, I would click here, and you'll see that it opens up in another tab. So, and this is what it looks like for them. So I haven't done anything to customize this yet. So I can come here and I will go to the editor right there, the pencil again, and now I can change the title of the topic. This is just the title that it came with. I can change what I want them to do. This is the prompt area, and you can you have up to 1,000 characters that you can write in here. And so a topic is essentially an activity or an assignment that you want the students to do, and they're going to be responding to a particular prompt that you're providing for them. You have choices of how much time you want to give them. You might not want to give them too much time, depending on what it is. But you can see that they have up to 10 minutes. So it depends really on what you're asking them to do. If you're using this for a performance assessment, for instance, you might want to give them 2 or 3 minutes so that they have enough time to play what it is that they need to play. Video moderation is allowing you to have videos hidden from the students until you review them and then make them available to them. A focus, I can delete this focus. This is just an animated GIF saying hello in these different languages, but I could delete this focus, and a topic focus just allows you to add some other material that might be relevant to that particular prompt. So maybe there's a video that you've recorded that you want them to watch, or there's a YouTube video, or they're responding to an image. Maybe you just want to give them a smiley face, or connect it to a Kahoot quiz, or what have you. Here's a link to Adobe Spark. Maybe you've created some kind of animated video in Adobe Spark that you want them to, that's part of the activity. So that's basically what a focus is, right? And you can give them some tips. If there are other attachments, you could put those here. This is if you want the topic to be active, frozen, or hidden, and an accompanying date for that. And then this allows them to create a selfie and a video. So doing a selfie is like attaching a thumbnail to their video. This is keeping the video editing on. And one thing here that you might want to think about is whether you want students the ability to like each other's videos. That might be problematic for some students. So I usually suggest that you keep it off because they're going to be responding to each other anyway. So it doesn't really need to get into a like competition. And then basically you can update your topic. And so, I didn't make any changes here, but if I go in and I look at it from a student perspective, like I did over here before, this is where the students then respond. They click on this big green button, and when you turn that on, it will ask them to log in. So I can log in as a student with my Gmail. And I can say, allow. Now they can respond in all different kinds of ways, just like we saw when I showed you the shorts. It's the same interface where you can add stickers, emojis, text. You can do drawing. I can change the whiteboard from black to white. I can record and I can stop and record again, all the way up to the amount of time that I have, which is right now 1 minute and 30 seconds. And then I submit my video. So when I go back to being a teacher, and you'll see that here is my response. So that is a really quick overview of how Flipgrid is organized and how it works. One thing I did want to show you is I want to come here and I want to share a video from a teacher, and in this video she is describing how she used Flipgrid with her students during the remote learning.
We were given permission and access to Flipgrid about 5 weeks into distance learning, and it was the #1 most successful thing that we did during the time that we were trying to teach from home. The students found it really, really easy to use. We did a number of different things with it. We started off by doing a simple playing assessment on music that they had already been working on. We used it for a series of play-by-ear playing samples. We'd give them an audio recording to listen to, and then they had to figure out how to play it on their own instrument for us, just to continue to develop their listening skills. We also used it to do our senior bios. Students would typically in our spring concerts have the opportunity to introduce themselves and their plans for the future. And so we used Flipgrid for that. And we also used it for a virtual talent show at the end of the year. One of the features that we really liked about Flipgrid was the fact that we as teachers had the ability to control all of the privacy settings. So students who were a little bit more nervous and self-conscious, we could keep the video set to private so that only we as the teachers could view and evaluate it. But students who wanted their videos shared, we could share them publicly, and then other students could view them. And you also have the opportunity to change the comment settings, whether students can or cannot comment on one another's videos. And I think that enabled us to create an environment that the students were really comfortable working in and had a lot of fun with.
So as you can see, you can use Flipgrid in a lot of really creative ways. Before I sign off on this Flipgrid quick tutorial, I want to point you to a webinar that was created by Katie Wardrobe from Midnight Music. She has put together some really terrific webinars, particularly over the last few months. And this Flipgrid for Music Teachers Step by Step is an excellent webinar where she really breaks it down very clearly and slowly and really provides a lot of really great ideas of how you might incorporate Flipgrid into your teaching. Finally, let's take a look at WeVideo. While WeVideo is not free, it's a really good example of a general video editor that's very similar in functionality to something like Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro. So let's take a quick look at how it works. I'm going to sign in with my Google account. There's different templates that you get, and I'm just going to go straight to this video template. You can import your media. You've got media, and then you've got these other tools. You've got text, you've got audio, you've got transitions, and you've got backgrounds. I've already imported some media. I do want to show you that when you import media, you can import directly from Google Drive. So I've already done that, and I basically just went onto a free video clip website called Pexels. It's all Creative Commons video. And I just chose randomly 3 piano videos. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add some text, and I'm going to come here to text. And the way that this timeline works, before I drag that in, whatever sits up here on the top in terms of video is what you will see. And I'm going to show you how you can do sort of a virtual ensemble type video where you can tile the videos to play simultaneously. The first thing though that I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in some text. And here's my zoom, and I don't want it to be 5 seconds. I'm going to make it 3 seconds long. And if I double click here, I can my music video with pianos. So I'm going to click and save that. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to go back to my media, and I'm just going to start building things. So I'm going to put this piano track on here first. I'm going to click play, and I do know that it starts off static, but then it turns into a scrolling keyboard. Once I see it start to scroll about now, I'm just going to cut it, and I'm going to get rid of that because I don't want that part. So I'm going to drag this back. I have 2 other video tracks that I need to make tracks for. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click add a video track, and I'll add one more, add a video track. So the idea of what I would like to do here is have this clip start and play for, I don't know, a couple seconds. And then I'm going to clip that. And then what I would like to do is add these other videos on top. So what I want to do though is I want to be able to see all 3 of these at the same time. So I have to start from the top, and I'm going to double click, and now I'm just going to scale that down. And I'm going to do this quickly, so it's not going to be perfect probably, but I'm going to double click on this one. I'll scale this one down, put this one over here, because notice I can only work on one at a time. I can't come over and fix that one. So if I did want to come back and fix the size of this, I'd actually have to come back and do that. Right, and then I will do the same thing here, where I'll double click, and I'm going to bring that down. And I'm just going to bring this down here. All right, I'll click Save Changes. And so what I have so far is my music video with pianos. This is happening, and then it goes to that. So now I want to do a couple other things. I'm going to add some transitions first. So the first place I'll add a transition will be between the text and the first video clip. So I'm going to go to transitions, and I can look at them this way. Kind of gives me an idea what they look like. I could also do it this way. I'm going to choose this rainbow, and then you'll see it just gives me the transition into there. And then I also want to add transitions here as well. So now I can shift click this, and I'm going to move this up, shift Notice this is 1 second long. I'm going to move this up a little bit, and then I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to move that up. Okay. And we've got my music video with pianos, and then I've got that. Okay. Once I have my transitions there, I don't have to keep those same transitions. I can actually come back here and let's see, I did add this one here. This got lost. So I have my rainbow doing that. Okay. So, but let me show you, once it's in there, I can come here and I've got the same list, right? So I'm going to change this to 3D cube. And then maybe I will change these to like a cross mosaic. And I'll do that the same for all of them. And cross mosaic. Okay. And the other thing is these are all different lengths here at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this, I can just cut this. And I can get rid of that. And so I am going to do two other things. I want to put a little bit of a background in behind these videos. So I'm going to go up here to backgrounds, and I'm going to put it on the same track as my video one. So maybe I'll do something like this, white streaks. Okay, so you'll see this happening like that. And there it is, right behind it. Now I want to bring in my audio. I'm going to bring in my audio down here. And I'm going to give myself a fade in. So it automatically shows my levels on the audio track. I'm going to bring this down here like so. And I'm going to make my audio come to the end, and I'm going to do a fade out. And now I can also do a fade out on my video tracks. So if I come up here and I say show levels, I'll come here, show levels, and show levels. Sorry, show, oh, there it is, it's there. And one more, show levels. Okay, so here is my final video. So when I'm done, I can click finish, and I can give it a title. Here's my video. Click set, and now you can see I can export it as a standard definition, high definition, or a full high definition, audio only. I wouldn't really recommend it as a GIF, but you could do that. I can make my destinations go directly to my Google Drive. I can directly upload to YouTube, Dropbox, and some other destinations as well. So I would go ahead and click export. Let's say if I wanted it to go to my Google Drive. So it takes a few minutes. I'm not going to be able to show you the final version, but I did want to just give you that quick overview of how you can really do some fun things with video footage. I use stock Creative Commons video footage to show that, but obviously you can use footage from your iPhone, from any kind of camera that you have, and import that into WeVideo and do some really creative projects. Once you or your students have created video, how do you share them? One thing about video is the file size can be very large. The best way to share video is to upload your video to an online hosting site such as YouTube, Vimeo, or TeacherTube, and then embed that into an LMS like Music First, or put it onto a school website or a blog post. You can upload your video to Google Drive and share the link, but be aware that Google Drive has some limitations on how many times your video can be played per day. You can also upload to another cloud service like Dropbox, OneDrive, or Box. Note that if you do upload to YouTube, be sure to check your school district guidelines. Also, when you upload to YouTube, it's a good idea to make the video unlisted. In conclusion, why use video? Though this list is far from being definitive, some reasons include using it for distance learning, some kind of hybrid learning situation, or in person. It's easy to incorporate video into many different platforms, an LMS, a digital portfolio tool, Google Drive, etc. You can use video in the flipped classroom model, where students learn their content at home, and then when they come into class, they move into project-based and collaborative learning. You can create material for subs. You can use video for assessment and checking for understanding. And obviously, we can also use video for creative projects and presentations. So there are many more things to talk about, but I hope today's overview of various types of video creation and editing tools and how you and your students can use them for learning, assessment, and creative projects has been helpful. Thank you so much for your attention. Enjoy the rest of the conference and have a great day.